Tzu Chi volunteers help rebuild houses in Sint Maarten years after devastating typhoon hits the island. Tzu Chi teams up with online gaming platform to create informative games during the pandemic. I'm Sean Scanlon. This is DAI Headlines. Let's get started. 4 years ago, Typhoon Irma struck the Caribbean, severely devastating Sint Maarten. Up until now, many houses have yet to be repaired. Although there are not many local Tzu Chi volunteers, they helped with repairs and encouraged the public to join. Take a look.
After Typhoon Irma 4 years ago, a fire broke out in this two-story building. The roof was damaged while the walls are toppled. There was only one bedroom left, which provides low shelter from the wind and rain, making the family of 6 difficult to sleep. Volunteers were mobilized to repair the house, hoping to make this home more stable to stay. There is also Bernard who needs help. After the typhoon, the house was in ruins and his wife and children moved away. Feeling depressed, he got to know Tzu Chi through a friend. Initially, he wanted to help others, yet he received help first. On the first day of July, the dilapidated roof was equipped with new metal sheets. Under the guidance of the architect, cement was used to strengthen the surrounding area so that it is strong enough to withstand another typhoon.
Had a problem with my roof was leaking. They came back, thank God to the Tzu Chi Foundation and the volunteers. They came, get together, fix up the roof. Very nice, well done. And I didn't know. I honestly didn't know they were going to clean my house too.
Volunteers also mobilized to clean up the messy room. From the kitchen to the bedroom, everything was completely renewed. The bed was specially made for him, with brand new sheets and pillows. This night, he slept most peacefully.
Every time you go in this house, you remember the volunteer that helped him to be in this house today. So it is I thank every other volunteer that take part to put together to help him.
I show him my love and my time, so I hope he's happy and he appreciates every single body time and effort that he put in.
Mutual assistance has given vitality to this small island in the Caribbean. Even if they are not rich, they all have laughter and hopes because they are still able to give.
The Philippine Tzu Chi Eye Center has been closed since March of last year to the outbreak of COVID-19. July 14th, it finally opened up to patients once again. Many of them returned bearing gifts for their checkup, eager to reunite with the medical staff once more.
In the waiting area, patients must keep a safe distance from one another. When they enter the clinic, they are measured for temperature and hands disinfected. The medical staff and volunteers have all been vaccinated. Last March, the eye center was closed due to the pandemic, and now that it's open again, no safety precaution is too much of a hassle. 65-year-old Helen finally was able to have surgery, and upon returning for a checkup, she could see out of both eyes and brought homemade snacks as a thank you for the medical staff.
After the surgery, I no longer get headaches. I finally was able to leave my pain behind. Without the help of the Tzu Chi Foundation, I would not have been able to have surgery, so thank you very much.
Maria was also among the first group of patients who had surgery. She's returned today to bring a handful of bananas for the staff.
When I lost my vision, it was as if my world collapsed around me. Now that I can see once more, I have never felt such energy. Thank you to the Tzu Chi Foundation for bringing me out of my despair.
Benjamin has brought his late wife's filled bamboo coin bank to fulfill her wish.
My wife put the bamboo coin bank by the head of our bed and told me that when it's full, we will return to donate it. But when it filled up, she was sick.
His wife was supposed to have surgery last year, but she caught COVID in January this year and passed away. Although she was unable to donate her love personally, the husband knew he needed to pass on her love to others.
In Malaysia, the economy has been severely affected by the pandemic. There are more and more residents in the community who need food. Kuala Lumpur, there's a kind person who hung a banner outside his house to provide assistance to those in need. With too many people coming for help, he sought Tzu Chi's assistance to distribute food to the needy. Take a look.
60-an macam itu lah.
60 lah.
60.
Lebih kurang 60 lah. Okey. Bagaimana dia orang sekarang semua di rumah lah?
Ada dekat rumah.
Accompanied by residents, Tzu volunteers from Kuala Lumpur and Selayang chapter went into the HDB house in Cheras, Kuala Lumpur, to learn about the situation.
Our money has already been used to pay the rent, which still needs to be paid every month. We have had no income for a long time.
I can only eat biscuits and drink tea every day.
As the pandemic is still serious, everyone cannot go out to work. Many of them lost their jobs for almost 2 months. They can't even afford to pay the rent, and they are running out of food.
After completing the roster, volunteers immediately purchased food and then distributed it to families in need.
There are rice noodles and 20 kilograms of rice. It is enough for our family of 3 to eat for a month.
Life is difficult because there is no income, but we still need to eat and buy daily necessities. Such food assistance can release some of our burden.
Under the pandemic, more and more people are in financial difficulties. Resident Chen Haide had a banner outside his home to provide help. Owing to the large number of people coming to ask for help, Chen Haide asked Tzu for help.
Actually, we have known each other as we are all neighbors. We help them, making them at least have food to eat and their babies have formula to drink. Give them food and clothing. Frankly speaking, if they are hungry, many bad things will happen. We don't want this to happen.
I thought you went back to have meetings for discussion. I didn't expect you will come back today. Your service is very good.
Volunteers build a protective net for those in need with love and practical action, helping them pass through difficult times.
The Genesis Social Welfare Foundation cares for PBS patients and has been supported by TIMA and Tzu Chi's assistive device platform. The Banqiao branch of the foundation saw TIMA's dental services adjusted because of COVID, with some services gradually restarting. On a recent visit, special medical equipment was brought to better care for patients. Here's more.
Oxygen generators of different brands are not functioning and need repair. Over the years, the Banqiao branch of the Genesis, a social welfare foundation, has been supported by Tzu Chi's assistive device platform. Patients need electronic hospital beds, wheelchairs, and other equipment. Whether it is sent to the patient's home or collecting ones which are no longer in use, volunteers have accumulated a wealth of experience in this field.
The volunteers are very happy to help to deal with these recycled items and organize them for reuse.
Due to COVID, TIMA has suspended dental cleaning service for PVS patients, though care continues. Dentist Huang Xiangling recalled learning from this experience.
In the beginning, we learned while we did it. At the end, we learned a lot about cleaning teeth. Maybe there must be a little more monitoring. At that time, a blood oxygen machine was added.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, no one can gather in groups, so they have no volunteers and very few people. Although their patients are all vaccinated, we know that their equipment is not that of a hospital, so we don't know the patient's blood oxygen level and heart rhythm response, which can only be observed visually.
Our vegetative friends are bedridden for a long time and they have no way to express themselves. So I thank you very much for donating blood oximeters so that we can monitor their vital signs at any time.
Giving more blood oximeters can lead to better care for these vegetative people.
Tzu Chi teamed up with Pagamo, an online playing platform, to come up with an online learning game to help students during the pandemic. The program is going very well, with even a celebrity, former Soda Green band member Afu, joining in as a reading volunteer. Afu is now in his 40s, has 2 children of his own. He's now involved in music, educating the young, and environmentally friendly activities to fulfill his life's ambition. Take a look.
A simple little love song becomes one of their well-known hits. The lament-filled youth of yesteryears is now a father of two. When Soda Green disbanded, band leader Afu was out of the spotlight for 4 years. Now the band's back together with a new name, new sound, and he's also going in a new direction: education. This is the educational game put out by Tzu Chi Foundation and Pagamo to help students during the pandemic's online learning. The platform was looking for volunteers, and Afu quickly signed up as his ideals aligned with the program.
You need to attack people's land to expand your own land and build bridges. Before each expansion could happen, you must answer a question correctly. Some of those questions seemed easy. I found I had forgotten the right answers.
It may seem easy to play this learning game with the kids, but adults can also easily fall into the trap questions. After his participation in the game, Afu realizes that children nowadays are very fortunate.
I think this is so much fun. It's vastly different from how we learned in the past. Before, no matter how much you put time and effort in, you might get a small gift from your parents for getting good grades. But with this game, you get a question correct, you get another piece of land. It's an instant reward, and it makes a difference.
Though he's in his 40s and a father, Afu is still very much young at heart, inside and out.
I often feel like I'm still young. So when I'm with my children, my wife often tells me she's looking after 3 kids at home.
The internet has made information easily accessible. Hardcover books are now monitors. Learning is no longer expensive and taxing. But Afu has observed that the next generation might lack the ability to discern right from wrong.
When you don't know what you want to do, or you don't have the right values to judge a situation, you might just get lost and don't know what is right or wrong. For example, on the internet, if you come across something you don't like in a certain group, you can easily leave the group and find people who will accept you in the next.
During his student years, he played in a band and fulfilled one of those romantical dreams. But now that he's married and has kids, his outlook on life is a little different.
Life continues to move forward, so when you keep going, right now at the age of 40, since I have kids now, maybe I should do things that I wanted to do in the past, but haven't had the chance to do so yet.
During his years of retirement from the band, he was not just resting. He produced children's plays, hosted sustainable musical festivals, as well as visited New York to participate in a sustainable exhibition. If you think the things he's doing now are vastly different, he'll tell you otherwise, as he thinks education and music is one and the same.
When we are inspired, it becomes our music. If we can spread that positivity to others, then they too can receive inspiration and positivity.
After a break in the music industry, he returns once more, but his ideals on education are not going away either. Afu plans to continue doing both, adding spice and color to his life.
Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School in Thailand upholds the master's philosophy of running a school, has been recognized by Chiang Mai province and awarded as a model education institution. Has nurtured many poor children, they not only learn knowledge, but also influence their parents at home. And the students who were helped to study abroad in Taiwan are now returning to serve their hometowns. Here's more.
Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School in Thailand was founded nearly 17 years ago. The former student returned to her hometown to become a teacher, teaching students like her before.
I will always remember Father Wang, who sent me to the Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School to study so that I can learn with peace of mind. I am grateful to him.
Through the power of education, impoverished children in the mountainous area can have the opportunity to study and even bring the knowledge home to affect their parents.
When I heard the child's words, "Don't hit the mosquito, just drive them away. Don't kill living beings," I was very moved. It touched my heart. I thought that my child was so young, but she can think that way. I am an adult. We should learn from such children's spirit.
Pachaya Songdoan, who studied at Tzu Chi University in Taiwan before, returned to her hometown as a teacher. During the training of junior lecturers of Jinsi aphorisms, she undertook real-time interpretation. She was worried that the teachers from the Taiwan Tzu Chi Educational Association could not understand, but she took courage to assist anyway.
That was my first time being a real-time interpreter. It was very challenging for me. I felt very worried when I thought about it. But after the interpretation was done, I found that I could do it. Although it was not very good, it was better than what I expected.
Through a video conferencing, Master Zeng Yan hopes that the children who return to their hometown to serve will pass on the love they received in Taiwan.
对自己一定要有信心呐！既立在那一片土地，就要花燕顶的那一片天，要承担责任。唯有教育呢，能发挥最大的希望，培育人才。更了解实际的世界。
Education not only changes the destiny of children, but also family values.
Chiang Mai Tzu Chi School hosted a teacher appreciation ceremony. Although the ceremony was on a smaller scale this year, the sentiment remained the same as students assembled the floral arrangement and teachers gave students a bracelet. Take a look.
The students put together a floral arrangement with flowers such as the Chinese ixora representing wisdom, the eggplant flower representing respect, and the Bermuda grass which represents humility and patience to give to the teacher. Meanwhile, the teacher reciprocates with marks on the forehead and a bracelet to complete the ceremony.
This event isn't something every school has. I feel it's very meaningful, and I was glad and honored to have been able to participate in it.
Normally, the ceremony is held in the first week of June when school starts. But due to the pandemic, it was delayed until July as that's when school began. Though it was delayed, the ceremony was still much honored.
This year we had to keep our distance, so each class held their own small ceremony, and each class also sent a representative to help out at the gratitude event at the end. It was still very meaningful.
The bond between teachers and students begins with mutual respect, and thus on the path of learning, there is much love.
Traditional Chinese medicine has been used to treat pandemics since ancient times. COVID-19 is now affecting Taipei City, and a TCM clinic opened by Dr. Chen Zhanwen has received many calls for help. This doctor believes he can help treat symptoms through TCM. He also estimates that there are more than 2,000 TCM practitioners which can help patients get through this public health crisis.
In traditional Chinese medicine, this is qi deficiency. This is called fat tongue, and the next one is called tooth print. The main reason is the state of the tongue coating.
80% of the video diagnosis and treatment by TCM are based on the appearance of the tongue. Normally, the tongue of a normal person has thin white fur, but this woman in the Wanhua restaurant industry has a noticeably different tongue appearance. When Chen Zhawen asked, she had a fever for many days.
According to TCM, the cause of the disease is called from the outside to the inside. So when there is still a superficial layer, the reaction is not very strong. Of course, after the second and third days, you will find that her tongue coating begins to change, as it is very thick and greasy, and the color is darker.
When the pandemic broke out in May, people diagnosed with mild COVID are usually sent to a centralized quarantine and epidemic prevention hotel as soon as possible. Some people's symptoms are getting worse every day, but there are no medical resources in their residences, and some people ask for help. TCM medicine video diagnosis is also used for treatment.
我发现到大部分的患者，他们都是已经使用。
I found that most patients have already used antipyretics, antibiotics, or other medicine. They will look for medical treatments when they feel uncomfortable.
那他会寻找不同的医疗，一定是他有不舒服感，
Although Western medicine can be taken with TCM, Chen Zhangwen said that in his experience, TCM, if prescribed correctly, can see significant improvement in just one day.
药物的治疗
TCM is not as slow as most people imagine. Some drugs, if you are not precise enough, will see the efficacy compromised. Just like Western medicine, if this medicine is not necessarily effective, we need to reconsider if it is needed.
思考意思是一样的。
Chinese skullcap, nepeta, mulberry leaf, fangfeng, and 10 other kinds of TCM materials are used from Qingguan No. 1 prescription. The Ministry of Health and Welfare approved it to treat the initial COVID attack, such as pneumonia symptoms. However, Chen emphasized that not all diagnosed patients take the same prescription because everyone has different symptoms, so they must go through a doctor's consultation and choose the drug treatment that is closest to the patient's current condition.
中医治病啊，
In addition to the different arrangement and combination of drugs in TCM treatment, the most important thing is its dosage. Different dosages have different goals. So, Qingguan No. 1 made for different function.
可以让它有不同的作用。
His grandfather practiced TCM for more than 20 years and has rich clinical experience. During this period of time, more than a dozen confirmed COVID cases have been diagnosed. He usually prescribes sweating medicine first, especially for viral infections. As soon as one sweats, his symptoms will be resolved quickly.
很多药物，它们可以改变病毒的附着能力。
Many drugs can change the ability of the virus to attach and the ability of the virus to replicate. Let me give you an example. Everyone will understand that when you are infected with gastroenteritis, will you vomit and have diarrhea? It is good or not to vomit and have diarrhea. It's good because this is the human body's protective mechanism. It wants to vomit these pathogens out as soon as possible. Why is it useful when we sweat? Because these pathogens are on our skin, including our mucous cells, and we can get rid of illnesses through sweating drugs.
The Taipei TCM Association has started video diagnosis and treatment since last year. Recently, it has held video seminars for several consecutive weeks. In addition to Taiwan, there are also TCM physicians from the United States, Canada, and other countries exchanging practical experience with COVID-19 diagnosis and treatment.
After watching video conference, many patients will have some reaction after taking the medicine. You can directly respond to us and let us correct or review whether our medicine is correct or not. Then you can see his new symptoms and adjust the medicine.
Scientific and technological assistance as well as transnational cooperation has united the global medical community to fight the pandemic together. Santiago, the capital of Chile, has been completely closed for nearly 2 months. After the closure of the city, everything has stopped, and Tzu Chi received a request for help. Tzu Chi volunteers offered assistance to 30 households who needed food. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.